Alrighty then, round 3 of the August Swiss Tuesday. I am 0 wins, 0 draws, and 2 losses, so I have performed as poorly as possible. I believe I was robbed week 1. I really should have won that game. Week 2, I wasn't unhappy. I got a bit outplayed, and my opponent played better. He deserved the win. But nonetheless, tonight I'm playing against Yuram Shea, who is 1443. Provisional, I think. I'll double check afterward. And yeah, my goal is pretty simple. If I win tonight, win next week, I'll salvage the tournament. And I'll actually, I think, be given my provisional, enter this in the mid-15s, and I think the opponent average is higher than that. I think going 2-2, I'll actually increase my rating. So I can still salvage this, despite a terrible start. Maybe I should have won the first game. Maybe I would have should have tried to find the draw in the second game. But nonetheless, my task is a pretty simple one. My opponent, mid-1400s, young kid. I don't know how young. He wasn't like 8 or anything. He was probably like in like 15 or 16 is my guess. But nice dude. And I want to say a few quick notes. Number 1, everyone I've played has been a nice person. The analysis afterward, it's been really nice to go over the games with them. The exceptions, and this isn't even exceptions, are obviously that one Saturday I played where I played like, 2 little kids who like ran away to their parents. Not that they were like nasty or anything, they were fine, they were just little kids, so they don't count. but yeah, it's been a real positive experience, so I'm really happy. I am playing my way to my provisional ranking, which is, again, 26 games, and I think I am almost halfway there, so pretty cool. I bumped up, and I really have encountered more resistance in this bracket, but I wanted to give this a good shot. I'm playing the white pieces. My opponent is playing the black pieces, and I don't know anything about them. For little foibles, one note about my last week's opponent, Justin. He mentioned that, because I think I made a comment that his getting up, he actually said it is a psychological weapon, which I think is kind of interesting. I wasn't sure, I couldn't tell if he was just kind of doing his duties or if he was getting up, just to kind of rattle me. I don't think it rattled me, honestly, but interesting. But it was definitely, I definitely observed it, I would say that. The other thing as well is that I talked with him for about 10 minutes before the game, and he brought up the same-ish variation. It's when you push an early F3 in the Queen's Gambit. And my friend Ryan, you're going to be watching this, you suggested the same thing, so he kind of went over that with me before the game. And yeah, those variations seem pretty decent. Now, I wasn't going to play that tonight because I don't know it at all, and I really don't want to just kind of put my foot into untested waters. But given 2 people are already recommending it to me, I think it's something that I would like to study and maybe start incorporating. So maybe to add a little diversity to this opening. But nonetheless, and I have been thinking about straying away from D4, D4, C4 stuff. But, that's a to be decided, a TBD. So far, looking at my spreadsheet, I've actually done pretty well in the opening. It's been more that the middle game I've been outplayed a little bit, so I don't really think I need to change my openings. Furthermore, kind of about that note, is my opponent after the game, who is most assuredly underrated, said that he's about 1,700 rapid on chess.com, and he doesn't really play blitz or bullet. I told him, I said, my own rankings are about 1,700 blitz and bullet. I don't really play rapid. I think currently rapid I have like a 1725 rating. I don't play that much. I think I've been 18 or 1850 on rapid for the record. But I probably want to start transitioning to playing more rapid, to be honest, because I don't think the bullet is good for me. For the record, I told them I played like an hour today because I had some free time, and I dropped about 100 points in bullet. I went from 1630 or something to like 1510 or something like that, and I felt when you just lose these quick games over and over again, it makes you feel terrible at chess. But it is very addicting. Anyway, that's sort of the preamble. So we kind of compared rankings or ratings, excuse me. Seems like I'm slightly higher rated than him on chess.com. I really have no idea of the translation. Everywhere I've read, it's like your rapid should be roughly equivalent to your FIDE rating. But I'm gonna let you all on a secret. Everyone I've played so far, aside from those kids on the Saturday tournament, which was really easy mode, where that the kids were like 900 rated or something, and I won very, very easily. Every other game I've played, my opponents have caused trouble for me, and of course I've also lost a couple. So I really have no idea what my rating will stabilize around, and the goal really is A, have fun, B, try my best, and C, of course, try to win. So, with that in mind, that's the preamble. Oh, and a little foible, I almost forgot to mention this. This opponent was very, very kind. I got up 3 times during the game. 1 time to use the bathroom, 1 time to fill up the water cup, and 1 time just to stretch my legs. I think I double-checked a few of the other boards. I rarely do that, but I did get up. Each time I came back, my opponent pointed out his move. And I'm going to let you all in a secret. My memory's pretty good, but I don't take snapshots of the board. So there have been a few times where I've come back to the board and I haven't been exactly sure what my opponent has moved. So I've double-checked their score sheet. So it was actually helpful. For the record, when I came back, I think 2 out of the 3 times I knew what his move was right away, so I was able to just denote it. But it was helpful. It was kind of a friendly thing. So I tried to reciprocate. I think he got up once or twice. So again, you don't really have to do that. I'm still kind of playing my way into the coordinates. I'm so used to online where everything is kind of done for you that's like a mini learning experience. All right, enough preambles, if you will. Let's get cracking. This was a cracker. And there's a lot to go over. There's a few key decisions that I think will bear some conversation. So I'm going to kind of get to that, mostly because the opening, we're once again playing, King's Indian, either whether it's the Nimzo or oh wow, I really can't draw arrows. It's so hard. Typical stuff. KID, I think is the abbreviation. He does an early Finchetto. This is all pretty normal. I think he actually strikes out in the middle, so I think it transposes to the Grunfeld. Nonetheless, I then play Knight C3. That is the best move. And this is all my normal stuff. Yeah, it's just the normal King's Indian defense. I've played this setup against this online. I'm not even kidding. I've played literally thousands of this exact pawn structure. So to say I'm aware is an understatement, which is nice. I kind of want to play into stuff I know. He lashes out with d5, so now we're in the Grunfeld. And I've got a few moves here. I know I can take. That's one option. Apparently, I'm actually going f4 kind of goes into almost like a London setup, which I did not want to get back into. Apparently, I can play h3 to kind of take away the jump. But anyway, I play the passive but solid e3. This is a fine move. We're still in book. And apparently, by the way, this is called the Burrell variation, which is about to get played. And this is not something that I have experience in. In fact, after the game, my opponent, who lashed out with c5, said that he actually knew the theory, and I didn't. We're technically just about to be out of book here. So here's where. So when this is played, I looked at the board, and my opponent made his first 6 moves in a minute, maybe a minute and 10 seconds or something. And I made, I try to breathe before I move rather than just kind of jerk it and just, move fast. So I probably moved about a minute per move. So I've used about 5 minutes of my clock. And when he strikes out with c5, I go into the freaking tank. And the reason why is my general mantra is I don't want to be caught in an opening trap, especially in an opening that I know decently. But I thought I could take here. And the reason why I'm calculating and thinking is that normally this bishop is on this diagonal. And I'm a French player, so you always are looking for the c5 break. So when you play c5, you want to then develop your bishop. If you take, you just develop your bishop, and it's good for black. But his bishop is on this square, is on g7, so I thought he can't do that. And I kind of realized if he can't take back with a piece, he's gambiting a pawn, and I didn't really see his follow-up. I thought his most likely move, kind of in a French style, which is sometimes you bring your queen to a5 to kind of pin the knight and whatnot, would probably be his best follow-up. But it didn't seem that good. So I'm glad this is where we break book. But apparently, according to my opponent, he told me afterward that this is theory and that he knew the line. Although I'm not sure. At the board here, I literally spent 15 minutes debating whether I should take the pawn or not. I knew that the easy move, for the record, the easy move here would have just been developed normally. For example, I could either play the bishop to d2, which again is more passive, or play the bishop to e2, which is the other thing I was considering. And apparently, obviously, bring the early queen b3. I didn't like that, for the record. So I just thought, all right, best move. It's got to be taking the pawn. And the computer agrees, so I'm pretty happy. I'm patting myself on the back because it looked like a free pawn, and I didn't think he was getting enough compensation. So here is where I don't want to say it gets wild, but this is where he immediately blitzes out queen a5, and I go into the freaking tank again. So we've played 6 moves, and I've used 15 minutes. I spent another 10 minutes on this move, everybody, by the way. The reason why is I didn't want to get caught where it looks like I can take another pawn here, for the record, but I was a little bit afraid of the kind of shenanigans. I know I don't want to push this, and he just recaptures. And I really calculated here, because I thought that if I do a normal move, for example, a normal move, bishop d2, which is a move I was considering. I thought this could be playable. Something like bishop d3 is playable. Maybe an a3. I don't think it does much here, but, that's an idea. I thought that he just captures the pawn back, and he kind of has a pretty solid structure where he's going to castle, and he still has the long diagonal, and I'll have gotten nothing. So I thought to myself really hard, and I said, why can I not just fight for this pawn? Why can I not keep it? And the line I saw is playing a queenless middle game. I thought if I check, he has to trade. I trade. My knight is defending this pawn. If he takes the pawn, I can immediately develop my bishop, which is what I want to c4 anyway. And I looked at it, my development seemed decent. He has no threat. Queens would be off the board, so the fact I have castle isn't a big deal. And I would just be up a clear pawn. And it looked good to me. For the record, the computer wants to go c takes d5, but I was really scared to take a second pawn, for the record. I was really scared to do that. Again, looking at the computer line, you're supposed to, but I thought this was the right move. And the reason why, again, and according to the computer, it's not even that good for me, but I tanked. And the reason why is I thought, all right, we trade queens. I know it's very passive, but we play the queenless middle game. I'm just up a clear pawn, and the position felt pretty comfortable to me. So I went into this. I thought that maybe he could block, but apparently he can't. Apparently, knight c6 just loses a piece or something. Because then you can just immediately stamp that out and you're defending the pawn. Okay, now that's why. Because after the game, we talked about it briefly, and I thought that might be more accurate, but it's just clearly not, because then I can just take c takes d5, and he has no more pin, so it's then defended. Anyway, so he's forced to take. Obviously, I don't tank on this move, guys. I play this one immediately. I take. And looking at the pawns, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, my knight looks a little bit off kilter. Yes, I still have a couple pieces undeveloped. Yes, he can just castle. But the position looked pretty good for me. Now, again, it's hardly winning or anything like that, but I was pretty happy. I took the pawn, I defended it, we traded the queens, and yeah, let's go. For the record, when I was thinking on his time, I thought this move immediately would be decent, and I would have to bounce back with my knight. The computer thinks he should just castle, which again is kind of hard to gambit a pawn and then kind of just play developing passive moves. But he didn't. He plays an inaccurate move here, knight c6, which makes sense. He's kind of blockading the two pawns. He's developing his knight for potential jumps. Yeah. Once he does this, I know I can get my pieces into the game, and I'll tell you my thought process. One line was c takes, which apparently is the second best move, which I was considering, but I was a little bit worried about him jumping with his knight to b4. The reason why, he's then threatening this fork to win the rook, and once he jumps in there, I wasn't sure a very clear way of stopping it, to be honest. So I thought if I allowed that, I would be in a lot of trouble. Apparently, it's not even, well, I played the best move in the position, for the record. So I thought very simply, I want to develop my bishop. I want to take away this jump because this pawn is protecting the d4 square. So I play the best move in the position, bishop d2. And it made a lot of logical sense to me. I'm taking away his jumps, developing my piece. Again, if he ever takes, I just immediately take it back. He can't push. We just trade everything, that's fine. I will say, I'm just kind of curious about the variation. If I do take, and then he jumps here, which is what I was afraid of, why is this okay for me? Apparently, I can play bishop b5 check. So develop with check. He blocks with the bishop, I'm assuming. Oh, and then I can just flat out play c. This is explosive stuff. I'm obviously afraid of this, but this is just good for me. He almost has to move backward, because otherwise I guess I'm queening, because it would be check, so he has to, yeah, so I guess that's okay. Interesting. That's kind of defending the pawn with aggression or so, yeah, and then you jump in, so you put pressure here. He has to man, his position actually becomes very, very tough. All right, well, I didn't see any of that. I just thought that if we go down this route, it goes here, rather than check, I wasn't sure how to defend this square. I thought I had to make a silly move. Like, yeah, I was going to probably play king d1. That's what I looked at, because then it stops that. But this didn't seem that great to me, because I thought he was jumping. I thought that he was safe, and I'm super exposed. So, to be honest, even though that was the best, that would have been a decent line, I'm glad I played what I did, which is bishop d2. Nonetheless, when he does, he gives up any ideas of having the initiative. He just castles. And I took a deep breath. I'd used 30 minutes on move 9, by move 9, which is really unlike me. I'm normally like, a minute a move out of the opening, maybe a couple minutes a move. But I really thought. But when we got here, it's queenless middle game where I'm up a pawn, and I thought that my pieces were in decent shape, so I'm kind of breathing pretty, All right. Nonetheless, after he castles, I do a think, and I think, why not just take the pawn now? I obviously saw takes, and then I thought I could just develop the bishop, which is what I want. And then obviously he either has to move back or develop the bishop to this this square, things like that, and it's all good. My only complication is he's got the long-term threat with the long diagonal, but I actually thought, oddly enough, this bishop is defending the b2 pawn. So I actually thought it was pretty good, because if he ever pushes, I have the en passant, which is why I thought a few moves ago it probably would have been stronger if he had played the bishop to d7, so that I would have had to remove my knight. Anyway, that's kind of what I was thinking. I thought that I could just simply take another pawn, and sort of after the trade, we're good. For the record, I did look at this move. That is bishop to c3. The goal is I want to trade this piece for this piece, because his dark square bishop is the scariest piece on the board. My dark square bishop is obviously hemmed in here and not doing anything if I was to move it there. So it would be trading what's known as a bad piece for a good piece. So that was kind of my dream setup. I thought if I could clarify the middle, be up a pawn, trade off these bishops, I would just be super solid. Like, maybe winning. I don't know. Who knows? Nonetheless, so I really thought my candidate moves, I was considering that. I was not considering rook d1. I also was considering just moving the bishop to e2. Yeah, which I thought would have been fine, because then I would have just been able to castle. Nonetheless, I grew a sack. I go pawn takes. And not surprisingly, when I go pawn takes, bishop c3 would have been the best line here. Yeah, I was considering this. So those are the two. I was considering the two best moves, which is good, and a third move, which apparently is not good. So happens. But all right, whatever. I take. Once he takes, I know that he obviously doesn't have this jump. This is once again taking everything away. I thought if he has to move back, he's just much worse. So not surprisingly, he goes knight takes on d5. Seems like the very clear move. And now I'm feeling pretty good. And I go into another thing. I want to play my bishop out here. I want to play a3 to take away this jump, because again, I'm always a little bit worried. And I want to get my king to safety. So I start thinking, maybe I could do a little bit of ooh action. I haven't queenside castled in the classical game yet, and this seemed like a decent spot for it. I would line up my rook on the open file. I would be pressuring the d file. And I would no longer have to worry about this nonsense of the bishop eyeing my rook, and my king would be defending the b2 square, thus freeing my knight. So I looked at the candidate moves. I was either going to play bishop to c4, again attacking the knight. I thought he doesn't have anywhere to move it. He'd probably have to move it back to c7 or something like that. I thought about playing a3, because I was very concerned if I played my bishop here that maybe he would actually have this jump. For the record, there's a spot move it very closely where I actually thought I was about to get mated. We'll get to that in a moment. But yeah, so I went through the options. I was considering a3, just taking away the knight jumps. I thought it was a little bit slow, and I wanted to kind of immediately get my king moving, so I queenside castled. Computer says it's only a good move, but to me it just makes a lot of sense. I no longer have to worry about my rook. It's in the game. Next turn or so, hopefully I can, at some point dislodge his knight, and then trade off these pieces. I would own the file, and I feel like I'm just in a good position. The computer, for the record, says I barely have a better position, which is really funny to me, because I was so comfy here. But sometimes sometimes you're peaceful in a position. Maybe I'm overly optimistic. I don't know, but I thought that I was up a pawn and I was like in a good position here. Again, according to the computer, it's fine. It's plus 0.2, but it's hardly like anything special. Oh well. All right. My opponent counters with rook d8. Kind of makes sense. He's trying to fight for the file as well. I can't really blame him. His best move would have been bishop f5. It is something that I was considering. The reason why is if he played this move, he's actually setting up a mating net. And this is something I saw. If he gets the bishop here, obviously even if I trade and then trade, he's actually threatening checkmate. Where if he goes to a2, these squares would be taken away from this, and my king would be bye-bye. So that actually was a legitimate fear I had. And I did think that was his best move, bishop f5. So I'm glad. I think I told him that after the game, actually, that I was very afraid of that. And I wasn't exactly sure how to respond to it, by the way. I think if he played... Okay, rather than this, if he played bishop f5, I think I was going to go a3. I think that was the move. What does the computer recommend? Computer recommends... what? Knight g5? What? All right. Well, that's not a move I was remotely considering. They're also like the c4 idea, kind of defending the square and immediately pressuring, which is something I was considering. And then knight d4, giving back a pawn, but kind of opening up potentially with the rook. I was considering that, actually, believe it or not, giving kind of back a pawn, but I didn't like it. Computer doesn't even want him to take back the pawn, but all right, you live and you learn. I'm actually curious how bad this is if I was to play a3 here. It would not be good for me. He would then get the fast attack because I'm kind of committed to pushing to defend this chain. All right, well, I'm glad that didn't happen, for the record. All right, he plays rook to d8. Upon playing rook to d8, now wow, they really don't like my move here. I thought this was the best move in the position. Again, the computer wants to, and this is always something I'm considering, bishop c4. I want to be able to connect my rooks. I want to be able to spy this diagonal. For some reason, I didn't like it here. I thought that if I play here, I'll show my move first. I play a3, which makes sense to me. I didn't want to deal with any of this shenanigans because I'm always a little bit concerned about, a random mate threat that I wasn't really sure how I could stop. So that's what I'm taking away. Apparently, the other move I was considering was to play the bishop to c4 immediately. And what do they like for him? Just playing... Okay. They like just him playing the knight back, and we have a position where, once again, I am up that pawn, and, it's not like a full pawn, but it's good enough. All right. Whatever. I play a3. It's an inaccuracy, and look at that. I've spoiled whatever advantage. The reason why is he needs to play bishop d7, and guess what, guys? My opponent plays bishop d7. I'm really surprised that's the best move. I really still thought that lining this up. The line that here, he played, my opponent, Yuramshe, played bishop to d7, and I thought that if he was to play here, the line that we kind of looked at together after the game is if he plays bishop f5, which I thought was a good move, he suggested knight h4, which I don't think I was going to play, but he thought this was good for me. It's not, though. But this does move the bishop back, but then my knight's out of play. All right, I mean, whatever, his best line. I thought this was his best line, for the record. I kept telling him this move seemed pretty good to me. And it is a pretty good move. And again, then I have a stupid knight, and yeah, and the computer actually says it likes his position a little bit more than mine. All right, you'll live and you'll learn. Nonetheless, he plays bishop d7, which is the best move in the position. I now play bishop c4. All right, I'm late to the party by one move. I thought I needed to take away these jumps, but I play bishop c4, which is the best move. And the reason why is I want to be able to, again, just kind of going to the long-term strategy, his best piece is this one. My worst piece is this one, maybe this one. If I can dislodge his knight, I can move my bishop, and I can force the trade, thereby improving my knight, getting his best piece. That was my goal. That was what I kind of thought. But he shocked me with what I think is a brilliant move. He plays knight e5. I think this move is brilliant, for the record. Computer thinks it's an inaccuracy, but I thought that was a top class move for the record. They wanted to play knight f6 to just go back. By the way, if he plays, again, let's just say moves the knight here, he wouldn't. That's a bad move. But yeah, okay, this was my plan. Again, I'm just trying to show conceptually what I meant by my worst piece for his best piece and how it would relate. Yeah, I mean, where they're saying like bishop e8, something like that, and then we make these trades where I would trade. They want to trade the rook first, but I wouldn't have done that. Yeah, basically trade a5 first. Interesting. All right, well, I don't think he would play that intermezzo move. And then I would just move my knight to c3, kind of get it back in the game. Yeah, all right. So conceptually, I'm kind of just showing from like the computer what I wanted as what I considered like the position where I reach harmony would be if we did something like this, where he no longer has dark square bishop. I no longer have a dark square bishop. My knight is no longer stupid. I still have an extra pawn, and I'm going to bring in my pieces. And according to the computer, I'm up 1.5. That's a clear advantage. I thought I was sitting really pretty. I have pretty obvious moves. I can, again, move my rook in. I can maybe even double on this file if I want. My knight potentially has jumps, not until I dislodge that one, but at least until d4. I can play b4, etc., etc. And he's kind of stuffed down a pawn, and this is not a good bishop. So conceptually, that's kind of what I was shooting for with these moves. But once I place bishop c4, expecting him to either bounce back or make a really poor retreating move, he plays again, I thought this was a top-class move. They think he should just retreat back to knight f6, and the position is nothing. I don't know how that's possible. I'm up a pawn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and it's not clear he's going to win it back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, well, whatever. Apparently knight f6, and it's like even. But he plays knight e5. And when he plays knight e5, I go into the tank again, and I realize to my horror I have so many losing moves. Initially, I wanted to just move these pieces back, but the problem is he's attacking my knight, and when he takes it, he'll be attacking my rook. So all of a sudden, I've got major problems. If I take the so-called free knight, for example, he goes into that plan. He then opens up his rook onto my piece. He's probably going to win an exchange. And he also has this annoying move to take my knight, fucking up my pawns. But he also, I saw this as well, if I take his knight here, he's got a really annoying check. You don't even have to do it necessarily right away, but he checks me, and then he forks my pieces. Family fork. And I thought that I was fucked. If I drop back, for example, he can still trade, and he still has that move with the fork, what I was talking about, the knight. So I need this bishop to defend this square. If I push forward, I saw he's got a move where he can take the knight, and obviously I have to block. Otherwise, I'm losing more material. But then he can sack, and he'll have cleared the way for his rook, and then he'd win the bishop with the rook, and then have a check, winning another pawn, checking my king. So when this was played, I mean, we kind of joked about this after the game. At this point, move 13, I thought I had a clear advantage. I was comfortable. Again, the computer says it's even, so I definitely was optimistic. I don't know how it's even, like, completely honest. I would take my position here 10 times out of 10. The computer says it's even, so what do I know? But, yeah, but once he plays this knight e5 move, I thought maybe I was losing. It's a brilliant move. Having said that, I clocked in, I did my calculations, and I found the fucking best move. Look at that. The only move that kind of saves the position, and not just saves it, but I'm in good shape. I am patting myself on the back because, oh boy, this was a tough spot. So he plays knight e5, and I find the best line, which is to play knight takes on e5. I am glad they gave me an exclam because I do think that's an exclam. Again, if we were to rewind, every other move, I'm in really bad shape. I did even look at this one long term and try to basically trade, to get the rook for the rook, but it's just losing. All these other moves are losing. I did not look at that move. That seems like a stupid move, but apparently it's the third best move. Every other move, like takes or whatever, and I'm just cooked. The game, I don't want to say it's necessarily over. So far in this over the board, I've won positions worse than that, and I failed to win the game, first round when I had a bigger advantage than that. So let's just hold the horses. I wouldn't say it's quite over. We're not, grandmasters or anything like that. But I did find the best move. I'm really happy. It's the only move that works. And the reason why is I calculated for both bishop takes and I calculated for both bishop takes. These are the two moves he had. I wasn't sure which was stronger. They think the move he played was stronger. Bishop takes on a4. I couldn't tell. I thought this was equally strong. But nonetheless, he plays bishop takes on a4, which is the best move. I'm just kind of curious. I saw if he takes, I was going to just actually retreat and move back. I'm kind of curious if that's what the computer says is the best response. No, they like a5 first. Attacking the rook, he has to kind of, you do all these massive trades, I guess? No, or he just takes immediately. All right. They like even dropping the bishop here. I was going to play, after he played this, I think I was going to play knight c3, which is still the fifth best move, but it's not as strong as any other moves. In fact, the game is very, very even here. Trade. Yeah, he would basically trade bishops. I would trade with my own bishop. And I thought if he takes, which he probably would, I do get my dream scenario of killing off his best piece. I take, and, they think that he can immediately just attack the pawn. He probably can. Yeah, I'm supposed to just give up the pawn. It's just completely even. I saw this, for the record. So, yeah, and this is even. However, I saw the line I played, which again is knight takes. He takes. And guess what? I still am thinking. I'm actually burning through my time. I'm impressed with myself. Because I found the best fucking move. Again, I think this is another hard move. Because I know I have b3. I am planning it. But I took my time here. And I realized that if I play b3 first, he would then take. And then I would take. And I would have these terrible pawns. And I didn't think I'd be better. Yeah, I didn't think I'd be better. Yeah, he would then immediately gang up on this pawn. I'd have really bad doubled a pawns. And I didn't think I was winning anymore. Instead, I found, boom, knight takes on f7. I'm really happy I found it. It's the best move. It's the only move, again, where I continue to have an advantage. And the reason why is I realized that if he plays bishop takes, which would be a terrible move, I obviously immediately take. His piece is pinned. I'm probably going to just win even more material. The game should be over. So he can't take right away. He has to take with a king, and then I have this long-term pin where I'm threatening e4 to win back the material. And I'd have this intermezzo move, b3, to also attack the bishop, thereby defending my rook. So I saw all this, and, again, I have no idea how strong or how weak my rating will end up being, but seeing the computer like this makes me pretty happy, because I calculated this. When he played the knight e4, I thought it was a brilliant move. The computer does not, or knight e5, excuse me. The computer does not give that move a brilliant, but I'm telling you, I literally spent 20 minutes and then another 15, on the next move, finding the knight sacrifice on f7. So I don't know. I feel like it was a good move, but who knows? I did find the best defense, so we'll see what happens. Anyway, once I play knight takes, he very quickly, I definitely was the one who was lower on time, but it didn't end up mattering. I'll tell you that much. He then plays king takes on f7. Wow, they like e4 immediately, giving up the exchange. That is cold-blooded. In fact, the computer doesn't even like taking it. All right, well, I'll tell you what happened first. I thought this is when you're supposed to play b3. It's losing. Okay. Well, and the reason why, is because then b5, and you don't actually have this, because then you can get pinned. Oh, boy. All right, well, interesting. All right, well, nonetheless, they want to play e4 immediately. I don't know why, because don't you just lose, is this... They want to play ac to 8, putting the pressure, but is this not good? Yeah, I would take. And then e6, defending. And I'd play e takes. And then he'd play e takes. And if we count the material, he has 2 rooks. I have 1 rook. I have the bishop pair. He'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pawns. I'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pawns. This is... I didn't want to go into this. I didn't think. I mean, according to the computer, the exchange, bishop pair with up one pawn is actually like white is better here. Material count, white is technically down a pawn, but we know that doesn't matter. Maybe because his king is so exposed. Maybe because I have like a pretty pushed pawn. I don't know. They then want me to play g5. Wow. With the idea of, wow, d takes. I mean, there's no way my opponent would do that. Well, I don't know. Maybe he would. This is crazy stuff because I would then trade. I would actually trade like this. And that's just even. Well, and then I no longer have an advantage. All right, well, none of that happened. I played b3 here. And my thinking is that I thought he had to move the bishop. And I thought then I'd be able to play e4, win back the material. Both my opponent and I missed b5. The reason why b5 is so strong is if you... here, I'll just... Well, I played b3, again, attacking his piece. Obviously, you have to do something about it immediately. If you take, he just takes back. It's no longer... Well, it's not that bad. I'm so surprised that it's that strong. I'll run back and kind of see. But nonetheless, move 16, b3. He does move, retreat his bishop. Bishop c6. I am better here. But apparently it's a blunder. He did miss this b5 move. I think it's a very hard move to find, personally. I missed it. I was looking at everywhere, him sacking, retreating, and everywhere looked winning to me. But I missed this move. Is this really not still good? I mean, can I just take? Is that bad for me? I mean, again, looking at the computer, objectively, yes, it is bad for me. But why? And then we play b takes. Oh, because it's the same position as before. Yeah, where I'm in trouble. And then I play b1, and looking at this, b takes on a4, and I don't... Okay, because I don't have the bishop move to attack, because he can pin and then play, whoops, a5, thereby winning the piece back. Okay. So I do understand, because I did not see b5, and just looking at it very quickly, it looks like I'm still winning my material back, but that's not the case. All right, well, nonetheless... He missed it too. I think that's an incredibly hard move to find personally. But looks like neither of us played perfectly, that's for sure. He plays bishop c6, which if we look at the best responses, the only response is b5, which is winning. Everything else, I did look at him sacrificing the bishop. Yeah, dropping back is the fourth best move. But yeah, I retain my material advantage. So yeah. In this position, I play e4. It seems very straightforward. This move I blitzed out, for the record, because obviously I want to win my material back. Thank you, computer. It gives me the great move. And at this point, you have to understand the cadence of the game, where I spent 15 plus minutes in the opening, maybe 20, whether to take the pawn, accepting his gambit, which I didn't think was great for him. And then I spent more time on the knight sacrifice, those two moves. I've already spent 45 plus minutes, maybe even 50 minutes at this point, which for me, for my time management, 17 moves in is very, very unusual. Normally I've been up on time, except for the little kids. This guy was up on time with me. Nonetheless, I still have a lot of time, and I didn't need to use it for e4. So let's see, we're at 30 minutes. Okay, don't worry, guys. Once e4 is played, I know I'm going to win back material. I was hoping he wouldn't move his king, and that I would be able to further gang up on this by getting my rook into the game, not playing there, because then I would be dropping a piece. But yeah, just kind of ganging up on the pin. I only wanted to take when I was forced to take, and very quickly he forces me to take, because now he plays b5. At the board, you have to understand the emotions. The opening, I was very comfortable, and looking at the computer again, I'm not really up that much, so I shouldn't have been that comfortable, but I was feeling very relaxed. And then when I'm kind of in transition to the mid game, before he played that knight move to e5, I was relaxed and very positive. And then when he nails that, I go into turbo oh shit mode, and I think I might be losing because I missed that. And then I find the sacrifice, the knight on f7, and the line there, and I think so highly of myself. Again, I missed this b5 move that he missed too. That would have screwed me. But then when he plays this move, he as well is going from like dejected, like he knows he's down a pawn, to all of a sudden like maybe he's really found something. And yeah, and I think if you look at the options, I feel like my moves are very forced. I look at en passant, and I didn't think it was good. Apparently, it's still fine. The reason why is if I take and then he takes, he's actually opening up the A file for his rook, and he's getting a lot of play, especially with this bearing down. That in some lines I actually might even get checkmated. So I didn't want to open up his rook for him, so I thought en passant had to be wrong. So I made the move that I thought was forcing and very straightforward, which is bishop takes on d5. Luckily, it's also the best move. When I played that, he kind of sighed, realizing that his moves are forced here. We're going to get a lot of trades. Bishop takes on d5, of course. Once that's played, again, we're blitzing these ones out. There's not a lot of thought involved. There's no other move that's even decent. I then play e takes on d5 as well. In response, again, he plays rook takes. And we went from, moves like 13, 14, 15 or whatever. Both of us took like our time. Whereas the last like 3 moves we play in 10 seconds, that kind of thing. A flurry of activity because it's all forcing lines. And the reason why is I saw this when the rook takes on d5. I realized I can move my bishop to e3. I'm defending my extra pawn. My king is very safe, and I'm going to develop my pieces. And this just looked like a winning endgame to me. And I made not really joke, but like the statement to him when we went over the game. And he agreed with this. Really nice kid. I said, look, I'm not good enough where I'm like can say with confidence that I'm going to win this endgame against like everybody around our level. But at the same time, like I'm going to win this a lot of the time. You know what I mean? Like this is kind of interesting because this is where like the practical decisions. The computer only puts me as like plus 1.4, but this position is really winning. Like this is where the numbers, because it's pretty simple. It's very straightforward. I'm just up a clear pawn. It's a pass pawn. These are connected, and he has pawn islands, and it's not bishops of opposite where he can't ever blockade the pawn. So again, I know that it's only plus 1.4, but as a human, this is really easy to play. So again, not saying I would beat everyone in this position. I wouldn't. I'm sure I'd fuck up and draw. Maybe even lose to some people. Maybe. But again, this just felt massive. And I think he kind of let out a big sigh at this point because I think he realizes that there's not that many tricks in this position either. Of course, there's always some tricks, but it's going to be pretty easy to simplify this. And then just obviously my strategy is so simple. I have a pass pawn. If I can get my rooks behind it, I just easy win. If I can trade off the rooks, easy win, etc., etc. All right. So I play bishop e3. He then doubles his rooks. This is the best move. And I just do a quick thought of, do I play c2 first, kind of dodge any potential fuckery with checks? I thought it was reasonable. That was the other move I was thinking about. And I did take my time here. I wasn't blitzing. But then I realized I could just trade, and then play the move, and I'm basically using my king to deny any entryway or infiltration, and then I can slowly improve the position. There was one trick I saw that I pointed out to him after the game. I think you saw it as well, so I'm not like taking credit for it. But anyway, he plays rook a to d8. Once that is played pretty clearly, I trade. This seems pretty obvious to me. Rook takes on d5. He then plays rook takes on d5. I mean, what else is he going to do? We're just simplifying. I have a very easy plan. I now move king to c2. All right, the computer likes my moves a lot. I'm playing well in the endgame, everybody. The reason I play this, for the record, all right, great move, is because I did see there was one trick, which is if I bring my rook in, he can actually check my king. Obviously, if I take, he then wins my piece, and I'm in trouble. And if I move up, he can then trade, and then he actually can win back material. And I think that's a dead even draw, by the way. So I did see that trick, so I didn't want to do that. So for the record, if I didn't play this, if I played rook, hey, look at that. I feel very good by myself. I saw this one trick, bishop b2, and again, you have to play c2, otherwise you're just in trouble. And then it would be takes, and then bishop takes on a3. Yeah, and the computer says this is just a dead draw. So that would be one way I could have fucked up this game. But I did see that, for the record, so that's why I played king to c2. I was looking at the K and confusing my brain. So I played king c2, which I think is the right choice. I want to get my king in there anyway. I did realize that he's taking away a lot of my entryway squares, so I'm actually kind of boxed in. I wasn't sure if I should do like a pawn break, but I realized once I play my king here, now I can trade rooks because he's not threatening to check that. And if he ever does move his bishop here, I can still push the pawn, and then it's like takes, and I still have the passer. So that's just winning, you know. Anyway, once I move my king to c2, he moves king e6, which is like, you know, again, these are all even moves. It's still fine. But again, even though the computer just has this as plus 1.3, this is winning. You know what I mean? Like, it's just winning. The computer likes rook e1 slightly more. I guess you can line it up on the king. I was trying to remember if I'm supposed to leave a rook on the board or not, and I thought I was not, because I thought my king could be a weapon, because if we remove the rooks, I could then get my king to a2, and then I'd be able to push my pawn. Actually, I think I would have pushed b4 and then a4 with the idea of takes, and then using my king as a bludgeon, and then I'd be able to shepherd my pawn. And I thought that was just, you know, winning. That looked like the winning plan to me. The winning line. All right, well, nonetheless, so that's why I play rook d1, because I thought now I can trade rooks. Yeah, and, you know, it's funny. It's not the right move. It's just not the right move. Because he can still... I just didn't think bishop b... Like, I didn't think that was anything for him, because he's not just winning the pawn. I'm pushing, and we're trading, and I still have the passer, and I can just get, you know, march my king up the board. So I don't know. Maybe, yeah. Anyway, he didn't trade. He should have, looking at the computer. You know, easy to say that. Instead, he plays a6. The reason why this move makes a little bit of sense, and I'll explain why. Computer doesn't like it, but there are some lines where if these rooks are off the board and I push, if he has to respond to this pawn, I can then win the a7 pawn, and then I still have the connected passers, basically 2 against 1. So I did see that. So maybe that's why he's just basically trying to dodge me winning another pawn. I think that's the justification for the move. The computer still doesn't want me to... It's interesting. The computer still doesn't think I should trade rooks. It thinks I should line up on the king. But I thought this was just getting into a winning endgame. Like, I don't know. Again, the computer is going to kill my accuracy for this. But this is just, again, looks like a very easy to play winning endgame to me. Apparently it's not. So, you know, again, what do I know? But the reason why is... Alright, once we play rook takes, I then play b4. So the computer really doesn't like my moves here at all. No, b4 is the best move. These are all plus 0.6. And the reason why is I'm locking it up. His king has to blockade the pawn. If he ever moves in, spaghetti-o, I can outrun it. He can't ever attack the chain because my king right now is defending. At some point, if he gets really creative, I can maybe escort my pawn, like if he moves here, boom, and then I'll make a queen. I don't know, I can't believe this is plus 0.6. This just seems stupidly winning to me. So, you know, whatever. All right, well, he plays the best move. He plays bishop e5, and the reason why is he's trying to take away the c7 square. He is technically attacking the h2 pawn, and I realized too late that he's not really. That if he plays, you know, if I ignore that, I could have actually played g3, and I would have put his bishop in prison. So looking at this, they like g3, just preventing him. Interesting. They like my move. I play h3. And my thinking here was, I have everything where I want it. If I can put my pawns over here on light squares, he can never attack them. And I can just take my time. Time is on my side. Yeah, but maybe it's just not as winning as I thought. I can't believe this is just 0.9, but whatever. All right, he then plays king c4. And I did tell him after the game I was kind of baiting him forward. We had a talk about this. And the reason why is he's never really threatening to come in. My king obviously blocks everything. And now that he is no longer blockading his bishop, if I can ever dislodge his bishop, I can just waltz it up the board. So I thought I had a very brute force plan. Computer likes g5 first. Obviously, if you can trade the bishop, that's really good for me. But maybe it forces e6, which is in fact what it forces. Yeah, I play g3. And the idea in my mind is very clear cut. It says it's a miss. Wow. Apparently the computer can just play king to d5. Nah, it's still... Nah, I disagree. It's still just lost. And the reason I play that is I can now brute force my bishop to this very important diagonal, and my plan is still stable. He will always have to defend with his king, and I can just move my king in and just take all the pawns. If he ever gets greedy with the king, I make a queen. I don't know. Just seems like a one endgame to me. But maybe there was some fight in the position. I don't know. But all right. Well, nonetheless, I play g3. He responds with e6 at this point. We said after the game that his only try probably, I mean, really, he needs to double the king back so he can blockade, but is to try to keep the bishop on the board somehow, and then just like make a fortress here, like somehow lock everything up, and then basically just move back and forth. And maybe that works. Maybe there's a draw in there somewhere, and that's kind of what we said. Maybe the only way. Anyway, he plays e6. And once he plays this, this is a blunder. There is no coming back from this, because immediately I slam the move, and at this point, unfortunately, my opponent starts shaking his head. He knows this is over. This was always my plan, to try to escort it up. If this goes off the board, he has to get around, and then if he's blockading, again, I just march with my king. Seems incredibly winning to me. And yeah, I mean, I'm going to play out a couple more moves, because my opponent, in this case, did resign the game once this went down. He played bishop takes on f4. I, of course, respond with the g takes on f4. That would be quite the blunder. He played king d5, but unfortunately it's a little bit too late at this point, because once king d5 is played, they wanted to play h4, which is interesting, but everything is just winning, everything, all these king moves. And I play king d3, which is the second best move. And in this position, my opponent resigned the game. Because, yeah, there's no stopping. He has to blockade this pawn, and I literally have all the time in the world to just march my king up and win all of his pawns. And there's, unfortunately, nothing he can do. As soon as he leaves the defense of the c-pawn, I make a queen. And that's what I mean. Like, this is, for a human, there's no tricks. It's very simple, and it's just over. So I won my game. I feel very good about that. It's been 52 minutes. If I win next week, then I'll actually salvage the tournament. I'm going to save this analysis. Let's add this to game. Let's add this to game collection. Wait, actually, let's do this first. Declare. Eckstut. All right. I have saved it. There we go. Let's add this to my game collection and to my Boylston Chess Club August Swiss. Boom. I guess before I end the analysis, let's just quickly do the review. Yeah, we'll see what the computer thinks of my play. All right, 83.5% accuracy. This was the en passant move that we both missed. That was his one chance to beat me. Otherwise, I think I played pretty well. I took the pawn here. I built on the lead, and then I just cemented the endgame. 75.9, he played decently for sure. He said he had planned this opening. Looks like my opening. I mean, opening actually 90.9. Not going to beat myself up with that. Pretty decent middle game. I did fuck up that one move. I should have played the bishop out first rather than, because he had the not the en passant, the b5 move. And then the endgame, they didn't like... They didn't like my accuracy in the endgame. I think my moves are good, to be honest, but the engine knows better than me, of course. I think the way I played tonight was good. I was more aggressive. I found that the knight takes on f7, which was the key moment of the game for me. And I used my time like I thought when I really needed to, and I'm glad. I did miss his knight e5 move, but I responded. I didn't know the opening that perfectly or anything like that, but I still, I think, responded to the gambit pretty decently. And my opponent and I missed that one move where, again, if he plays b5, he probably wins the game, but maybe not. You never know. Yeah, as a result, this wasn't like one of the best games I've played so far in these tournaments, but I think my rate of play tonight was good, not great. I'm happy enough with it. I'm thrilled to grab the win. And my last opponent is for next week, because this is only a 4-week tournament, because the August, again, only has these 4 Tuesdays. believe it or not, is this guy, Dumicio Birchwood, who has crushed. He is 3-0, yeah, I'm now 1-2. The funny thing is, if I beat him, and I think Phineas Haig has a bye, Daniel Paley is playing Justin Guerra, I think. That if they draw and I win, I actually can split second prize, which is really funny. It could be like a 3-way split for second, something crazy. That probably won't happen. I would say the overlay of me winning and them drawing is like small, but it's not impossible. The fact that I, 0-2, thought I was just completely cooked, and now I've kind of redoubled makes me pretty happy. But nonetheless, I'm gonna just try to play my best. And again, if I do beat him, I'll totally salvage this tournament, and I'll feel pretty good about myself. This guy has played great. It looks like 3 wins. He beat Justin tonight, and again, Justin's a tough opponent, so this kid is obviously very capable. I looked him up very briefly, and I think he's still provisional as well. I think. Let's find out actually, because I'm kind of curious. Yeah, he's played 12 games total, so he's played like as many as I have. All right, he's lost to a 1500. Okay, well, so have I. Other than that, he's won every other game he's played. So far he's been back. Great. Losing against a 2200. I would lose against a 2200 as well. And it looks like he, early on in his career, it looks like, since he, maybe, years ago, he lost against a 900. All right. Well, I'll have my work cut out for myself. I'd like to think that I'll have the advantage, but I'll be playing the black pieces. We'll see. I'm going to call the video here, just shy of an hour. Again, I'm very happy I won. Props to my opponent. Thank you for the game. And yeah, I'm going to stop recording now. Have a good one, everybody.